Oh, I broke my back and my legs. When the guards find me, they'll kill me. Fooled you! Hello, welcome. I'm Tommy the Keyblade Master, and this is my channel. Today I am going to be looking at something I call a bargain bin game. Now, a bargain bin game is something that is on a recent system, but is now cheaper than $20. I'm not talking about Super Nintendo games, nor I'm talking about digital-only games. These are games you can walk into a GameStop or a Walmart and get for $20 or less. I'm going to look at them and see if they're worth the price and who should be interested in this game. So let's walk over to the bargain bin and see what I pull out. Damn hang gliding assassins! Well, the good news here is that there's only one game I know of that involves hang gliding assassins, and it's one of the best games of the Xbox 360 and PS3 generation. It's Assassin's Creed 2. Now, if you're wondering, yes, I was very hard on the original. One of the reasons why is I played through this game before I played through the original and was just so disappointed on how different they are as far as repetitivity and just the amount of gameplay difference. So yeah, I want to go through this game again, and I had a blast playing through it a second time. It's still a great game, even though it's now about 5 years old. The story begins with a brief recap by Desmond of everything that happened in Assassin's Creed 1, the Templars and the Assassins still being at war with each other over 1,000 years later, with one group wanting world domination, and Desmond being stuck in the middle of it. He is soon rescued, however, by Lucy, who busts him out of Abstergo, but not before Lucy manages to find a piece of Desmond's history belongs to Ezio Auditore, someone she was working with another subject in the Animus. So she takes that data too, and they escape and they find some other assassins who have an Animus. They need Desmond's help and they need him to become an assassin quickly, so they decide to stick him in the Animus for a while and have him learn through his ancestors. They're looking particularly for Ezio because Lucy believed Ezio might have had a treasure that could help them beat the Templars in the modern day. Once fully plugged into the machine, Desmond is transported this time to Renaissance Italy, and you'll be playing as Ezio Auditore de Firenze. And the game starts out with Ezio battling his most fearsome rival, Italian Sasuke Uchiha.
It's your family that cries for guards when there's trouble, Cotardo. Afraid to handle things yourself?
After a fight with Uchiha here, where Ezio gets bailed out by his brother, Ezio is treated for a cut that he got on his lip that will remain a lifelong scar. And then the two brothers proceed to have a race to the top of a church so they can get a better view of the city. And one of the best lines of the game is uttered.
It is a good life we lead, brother.
The best. May it never change.
And may it never change us.
Yeah, talk about feeling sorry for these two already. You know something bad's going to happen when those lines are uttered, but it does give our main character more character already than what Altair had during the whole original game. You know something's going to happen, and in under 30 hours time, one of those two is going to be doing an impersonation of a piñata, and the other one's going to be really ticked and hooked to wearing a white hood. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. The game's opening acts take place during that one day where we see what Ezio's regular life is by doing chores for his mother and father and sister, and finding out what his life is like with his posh nobleman status. However, you soon find out towards the end of the day something's not right. His father's caught up in a whole bunch of conspiracies, most of which he's innocent for. His family gets arrested and his brothers get executed. Ezio manages to escape and finds out that his father has one of these white hoods with a broken hidden blade. After seeing his father and brothers executed, Ezio is able to save his mother and sister and take them out of the city, but they're ambushed by Italian Sasuke here, but are saved by Ezio's Uncle Mario. And if you're wondering if that man there looks a lot like a certain other company's mascot that has been both a plumber and a doctor, I'm pretty sure that's 100% complete coincidence, not on purpose at all.
Don't you recognize me? It's me, Mario!
Like I said, a complete coincidence.
Father was more than just a banker.
No use dancing around it, I suppose. Father was an assassin, Ezio.
I told you before. My father was a paper pusher.
No, he was born and bred to kill.
I find this difficult to believe.
What of the list you carry? Do you think it's merely a catalog of deaths?
Ezio is surprised and shocked to learn from his Uncle Mario that his father was an assassin. But come on, Ezio, how many people in Renaissance Italy taught their sons to climb tall buildings and then jump off of them? That should be your first clue something isn't right there. Anyways, Ezio decides to go after the Templars who killed his father, starting with Italian Sasuke Uchiha here, and going up and eliminating their leader, Rodrigo Borgia.
Is this why he was killed?
And from there, the game does a really good job with its entire story. Ezio is a fully fleshed out character. You see him getting angry. You see him getting depressed. You see him as he grows older. The game takes place over 20 years. So he starts out as an angry teen, and then you finally find him again when he's a little over 40 at the end. He's kind of a likable rogue for the most part. Unlike Altair, who was just a homicidal douche, you can kind of empathize with Ezio a lot more. So I really like this game, and it also treats its history a lot better than Assassin's Creed, which is, well, here's the Crusades and that's it. We don't even care outside of its setting. Here it really does try to meet it halfway. You'll meet people like Leonardo da Vinci, which will become Ezio's Q. He's the one that helps you design new armor and weapons. You'll also meet a few villains. I already mentioned Rodrigo Borgia, who is considered to be one of the most controversial popes of all time. He had many illegitimate children, would often fight and wage wars for political power. Rumors of rape and poison are also abound. Some historians are a little confused whether or not that actually happened. But either way, not exactly what we think of when we think of a good pope. He is also a villain of sorts in one of my favorite classic literature books, The Count of Monte Cristo. Now, The Count of Monte Cristo takes place in post-Napoleonic France, about 300 years after the setting of Assassin's Creed 2. With that being said, the treasure that the Count of Monte Cristo finds to get his revenge on those who ended the life of Edmond Dantes was hidden to keep Borgia's hands off of it. The game is not perfect in its retelling of history, of course. It takes a whole lot of artistic license. For example, an assassination attempt against the Medicis that did happen in real life is portrayed in the game. Except in real life, all the conspirators were caught and executed that day. In the game, they flee to Tuscany, and the player will take the next several missions traversing the Tuscan countryside trying to find them and kill them. On starting the game, you will notice the huge improvement of the graphics over the original. Even the scenes involving Desmond and Lucy now have a lot more color, and there's a lot more realism in their face. The frame rate seems to be better, and the game just looks a lot more colorful and a lot less dreary than compared to the original. And I like the new look even outside the Animus. Things start looking even better once you get back into the Animus and are transported into Renaissance Italy. Unlike the last game where it was really dreary, the colors really pop out. You have night and day shifts, the buildings and the textures look really good. It does give you the feel that you're really back in experiencing some of these places, if just a little bit romanticized. It's a great looking game. If you turn the blood on Also, things now will stain your cloak, like when you kill a guard or something will now stain your cloak for a little while when the blood hits them. I don't have blood turned on for most of the video footage I shot. I just don't like gory games, but if you do, well, each to his own. As far as voice acting goes, we have Roger Craig Smith doing the main role as Ezio.
How are you?
Bene.
Smith has taken many roles in things like Captain America, and he also is the modern day voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, so he's a really good voice actor. He hits it out of the park. It's Ezio in this one. We also have voice acting legend Cam Clark doing some of the side characters as well. So basically we get a really great cast doing the voices of these characters. So overall, this is a really great sounding game. When it comes to the music and the ambient sound, all of it is really great. A lot of hard work was put into it, and the game just sounds fantastic. Now let's talk about the gameplay in Assassin's Creed 2. It takes what was good about the original Assassin's Creed. It's still an open world platformer. You're still climbing buildings. You're still trying to look out tall towers to complete your map. And you're still trying to be stealthy. Except this time it's a whole lot better. There's just so much to do on the map. They took a few things out of their popular Naruto games that they made for the Xbox, like the races and the deliveries, and added it to the map as side quests, which are completely optional. They also added a money system, so you now earn money for the missions you do. Side missions now are important. And if you want to really earn money quickly, you can invest all your money in your uncle's mansion in Montegrani. Sorry, I probably screwed it up. But, you can rebuild that city and then use all that money you earn from it to buy new weapons, armor, and other neat stuff that you find throughout the game. But it's not just weapons and armor. You can also buy stuff that also increases the mansion's profitability too, like artwork, and the art is all real Renaissance masterpieces, and the game gives you a few lines about who painted it and why. Some of the stuff is definitely M-rated. I guess a lot of Renaissance artists were perverts back then, but quite a few nudes there that you won't be seeing in this video. As for one of my other large complaints about the original game, the game's AI, well, congratulations to the guards. They must have went to school, because rather than being dumber than a box of rocks, they are now the IQ equivalent of a box of rocks. They're still easily beaten and still easily duped, but they're a lot smarter than the mental retards you fought in the original games. They will check to see if you're hiding in the hay. They will actually defend against your counters. You'll still do damage doing the counters, but it's no longer an automatic kill. You'll also be able to equip several different weapons, and you'll be fighting different guards. For example, there'll be big guards that are slow, but you don't want to mess with them because they're hard to block against. And then real fast guards that are really easy to kill, but they'll slow you down when they catch you, for the big guys to catch up and do damage. It's a real interesting thing, and if you're wondering, is it a good idea to go on a kill rampage against guards to get money? The answer is no. Ezio has armor that will be damaged the more he fights, and you have to pay to get it repaired, or pay to buy a new set of armor for him. Also, if you go on a kill rampage, in a lot of places you'll start gaining more notoriety, and if your notoriety bar fills up to complete, you won't have any peace as long as there's guards around. They will all see you, catch you, and want to kill you. So it's really better to be on your best behavior when you can be. Of course, that's being said, going on a kill rampage against the guard is always a good way to blow off steam. But you don't always have to go on a kill rampage against the guard. Ezio has plenty of items now that will allow him to get away without having to directly confront them. First off, he had those smoke bombs that you've seen me at the beginning of this clip use, which will distract them temporarily. You can also find and hire concubines, which will give you a moving protective area where the guards can't see you while you move about, and then the concubines will go and distract the guards if they get too close. So, it's nice to have all these new tools at your arsenal, and you don't always have to get into long, boring, and repetitive fights. It's all just great additions to the game. Now, if there is one bad thing about this game, it's the DLC. Now, what this game did that is so bad about the DLC is there's 2 memory segments that were originally supposed to be in the game that are cut out near the end. When you reach them, all you get is Lucy and her assassin's buddies telling Desmond what happened during those missing memory scenes, and you're pretty much flushed out towards the final fight with the boss. So, us console users have to buy these extras. Another thing that pisses me off is the PC users get them free because that one came out later. We console users have to shell out extra, though, if we want these 2 story segments. Now, the first one happens in the city you just kind of cross in the main storyline and don't do anything in. In the first DLC, your entire mission happens in this one little swamp-like city, helping Cristina Ferranzo defend it and trying to keep the apple safe that Ezio managed to steal from the Templars. Your second DLC is called Bonfire of the Vanities. It takes you back to Florence, which is your first area in the game, and you have to basically repeat the original Assassin's Creed. You get 9 targets you have to find and kill throughout the city, and your assassination attempts take place in a way that kind of mirrors the original Assassin's Creed for a lot of them. So, yeah, it's not as clever as it wants to be, and the DLC also suffers from the fact that all the villains from the main story are dead. You've pretty much killed all your main Templar bad guys, but at the same time, you're just introduced to Machiavelli and Cristina Ferranzo and just quick cutscenes without the DLC. These were kind of meant to be their storylines in the game, and it seems like they're just missing without them, and they become big players in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. The achievements in this game are for the most part easy to find. Most of them come from the story mode. A few can get from getting extra treasure or completing some of the side quests. And there are some hard ones that come from finding all these feathers you have to find. There are 100 in the game just scattered through random locations. It's kind of like the flags on the last one. It's a bit of a pain in the butt. If you want to do them, they're optional. The DLC also does not contain any extra achievements, so it's also another waste of money because you don't get the full bang for your buck without those achievements being there. I give Assassin's Creed 2 a 4.5 out of 5. The only thing keeping it from being a 5 is the crappy DLC and its implementation. Anyways, right now it's retailing at GameStop for $7 for the PS3 and $10 for the 360. I don't know the exact reasons for the price difference, but it's there. I guess more 360 users want to play Assassin's Creed than PS3 users, so supply and demand, I suppose. 360 users actually did get it free about a year back with the Games with Gold program. It was offered last summer. If you did download it and pick it up then, it's worth a playthrough now if you haven't played through this amazing game. The only other sandbox game that I would say comes close to being as fun as this would be Rockstar's Red Dead Redemption, and that was a really fun game too. So check both of them out if you got the time and if you love the genre. I planned my next game to be Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but this game just fell in the bargain bin into my lap. So we're going to be pillaging and pirating this next bargain bin episode. We're going to be questing for booty, questing for wenches, and questing for wenches' booty. Yeah, your captain be a pervert, but watch what you say or else he'll keel haul you. Next game is Assassin's Creed Black Flag.